If you've been scrolling through endless rows of laptops, comparing specs, watching video after video, and still feel like you're stuck in a loop, this review is here to cut through the noise. You've probably asked yourself if the extra horsepower is really worth the premium, whether the display will actually help you stay productive on the road, or if a workstation-class machine is overkill for the day-to-day tasks you juggle. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I spent the last week putting the Lenovo ThinkPad P14s Gen 6 through a mix of office work, CAD modeling, and a few long-haul video edits, so let's see if it lives up to the hype or if it's just another pricey badge. First off, the thing that scares most buyers about a workstation laptop is the price versus the real-world benefit. It's easy to get dazzled by a AMD Ryzen 9 HXPRO headline and assume you'll need that much firepower for anything beyond gaming. In practice, I found the P14s shines when you're running multiple professional applications. At once think Photoshop layered with a 3D rendering viewport and a spreadsheet full of live data. The CPU handled those simultaneous loads without the dreaded slow down you sometimes see on consumer-grade laptops. That said, if your day consists mainly of email, web browsing, and occasional Word docs, you'll probably be paying for performance you'll never tap. Now, the display is where the P14s tries to separate itself from the crowd. The 14.5-inch panel packs a 1920x1200 resolution, which is a notch higher than the typical 1080p you see on most 14-inch laptops. The extra vertical pixels give you a little more room for toolbars and timelines, something video editors and engineers appreciate. The IPS panel hits 500 nits, so you can work comfortably in a bright cafe or near a window without squinting. Color-wise, it covers 100% of the sRGB gamut, meaning what you see on screen is close to what will print or display elsewhere. In my own tests, the screen stayed consistent when I switched between Lightroom's Develop module and a CAD program. There wasn't a sudden shift toward oversaturation or a washed-out look. If you're a photographer or a designer who needs reliable color, this is a solid win. However, it's still an anti-glare, non-touch panel, so you won't get the glossy vibrancy of a high-end ultrabook, nor will you have the convenience of tap-to-zoom if that's part of your workflow. Memory and storage are another practical angle. The base model we looked at comes with a whopping 64 GB of DDR5 RAM. That amount feels almost like a safety net once you hit 32 GB. Most professional software runs smoothly, and the extra headroom means you won't be forced to close programs to free up RAM. The 2 TB SSD provides ample room for large project files, and the NVMe speed ensures that loading a 30 GB 3D project takes seconds rather than minutes. In real life, I noticed the difference when opening a 10 GB video clip in Premiere. The timeline was ready to scrub almost instantly, which is something you can't say about many mid-range laptops. The downside? That massive RAM and storage combo pushes the price higher, and if you're not regularly dealing with massive datasets, you're paying for capacity you won't use. Battery life on a workstation is always a question mark, and here the P14s offers a decent compromise. Lenovo claims up to 10 hours, and in my mixed-use scenario half the day in PowerPoint presentations, half in code compilation, and some light rendering I got around 7.5 hours before the charger nudged me. It's not a marathon runner, but it's enough to get through a typical workday if you're okay with occasionally plugging in for a quick top-up. The real kicker is the Wi-Fi 7 module, which means you'll have faster, more stable connections when you're on a modern router handy for cloud-based file transfers or streaming large design assets. In older Wi-Fi standards, you might see occasional drops in a crowded office, but the newest chipset kept the link stable even when the signal bounced around the office. So who should actually consider the ThinkPad P14s? If you're a freelance engineer, a video editor who works on the go, or a data scientist who needs to run Jupyter notebooks while also referencing large PDFs and visualizations, the combination of a strong CPU, abundant RAM, and a color-accurate display makes sense. The robust chassis, which has the usual ThinkPad durability, also means you can toss it in a backpack without fearing a cracked screen. On the flip side, if you're a student who mainly types essays, streams videos, or does occasional photo editing, you'll likely be better off with a slimmer, cheaper Ultrabook that still offers good battery life. The extra cost of the workstation-grade GPU and AMD Radeon 890M 1TB noticeable unless you're actually leveraging GPU acceleration in software like Blender or DaVinci Resolve. For pure office work, you're paying a premium for a feature you won't touch. In terms of practical weaknesses,